Welcome back to another episode of Dr. J Does Stuff in the How to Pass Your DOT Medical Exam series. And today we're going to talk about something that doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's super important. And that is if you come in to renew your medical card because your card's either expired or about to expire, and of course, you know if you've been doing this, you can't keep your CDL if you don't get your medical exam done and pass it. But what happens if recently you broke your leg? You had a workers' comp situation. You have some kind of an injury that means you can't pass, meaning you can't do all of the duties that are required of a CDL driver. The drivers will say, "Why? I don't do those things," or "I don't even drive. I just keep my CDL because I don't want to lose it. And it took too damn long to get it, and it's really expensive now to get it back." I said, "Yeah, but you can't pass because you can't squat down and like you're putting chains on a truck tire. But I don't do those things." It doesn't matter. According to the FMCSA, it's 100% or zero. There's no light duty, there's no in between. And it doesn't matter if you don't use your CDL, or if you use your CDL but in a capacity where you don't necessarily do the laundry list of things. And you'll remember there's a form, the medication form that I've talked about, that the doctor would have to sign on your behalf. And the very first paragraph of that lists all of the duties. So when somebody is signing a form on your behalf, if you were taking a medication like a Schedule II narcotic or an amphetamine or Adderall, or they have to understand what they're signing. So the FMCSA makes that really easy. They list all of the physical responsibilities, and you have to be able to do all of them. It's 100% or nothing. Unfortunately, there's no in between. So when you come in to do your exam, if you got a broken leg, if you've coming off of a rotator cuff surgery, you're not going to be able to put your arms up. You're not going to have any range of motion. You're not going to pass. So then the next, the deer in the headlights look is like, well, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my CDL. So I don't know if it's different in any other state, although I believe it is. This is something you're going to have to look into. But since I'm in Colorado, what you do in Colorado is you go down to the DMV and you tell them, "I need to downgrade my license temporarily to a Class C while I heal." And then you get 365 days from that moment forward that you can come back at any time to the DMV and upgrade it back to your CDL without having to take a single test. So driver comes in, they have some physical limitation from an injury, something they did at home, workers' comp, which we're going to talk about in a second because that's really important. And they're not going to pass today. So what you do is you go down to the DMV, you downgrade temporarily, and then you heal. Once you heal and you can do all the duties required by the FMCSA, you come back, you pass, go back to the DMV with your medical card, and they'll upgrade you back to a CDL without you having to retest or any of that nonsense, as long as it's within the 365 days since you told them you wanted to downgrade. If it's day 366 or longer, now you got to start all over again. But think about it this way. If your injury is so significant that it took a year of rehab and healing and you still can't pass, you probably shouldn't be driving a truck. It's just how it is. But in Colorado, and I think this is the same, you'll have to check this yourself, in all 50 states, that when this particular situation happens, because it happens, it's not often, but it does happen, maybe like once a month or once every couple of months, I'd see somebody, then they'd come up the stairs into the thing and they've had a knee replacement. They can't squat. The surgery was 2 weeks ago. You've got to be able to squat down. You got to be able to duck walk around like you're changing the chains on the tires or you're doing a pre-trip inspection. You're not gonna be able to do it. So that's how you do it. You temporarily downgrade, heal, come back, and go. Yes, it's frustrating for a lot of people. I've been threatened. I've been, yelled at, screamed at. The rules are the rules. I'm not putting my license on the line and break the rules and then, end up in trouble. It's just, I'm not doing it. So it doesn't mean somebody else won't pass you, but that's their license on the line, not mine. And if anybody's following the rules the way they're supposed to, you're not going to pass. And then you heal and you pass. So let's talk about workers' comp. This is a biggie because I didn't know this rule. It didn't come up in any test I took. It wasn't in any documentation or anything. Now the 100% or nothing is documented. I understand that, but here's the weird situation. Guy comes in, he's about 70% of the way through a workers' comp situation, and he could do everything. He didn't tell me he had a workers' comp situation. He filled out the paperwork. I looked at the paperwork. Did you have an injury? Yes, I had an injury. How long ago was it? It was 4 months ago. Okay. And that probably should have tripped me to go, was it a work injury? But you don't know what you don't know. So I know, and now I'm telling you so that you'll know. He passed all the tests. He could squat, urine was great, blood pressure was great, could see everything was fine. I gave him a card. He goes back to work, hands his card in to the HR department, and they go, oh, so I guess you're perfectly healed now. No. My workers' comp doctor hasn't released me yet. Oh no, this medical card that you got from Dr. J is 100% or zero. So the fact that you now have documentation that you're perfect, your workers' comp case is over. And it really hammered his settlement, and he needed some more care that was prescribed. He had to pay for that out of pocket. He came back to me. He was so pissed off, and rightfully so. That was something that I should have known, and I've never made that mistake again. So whenever anybody comes in and it's an active workers' comp case, be aware that if you can pass the DOT's medical exams, your company may use that against you and kill your workers' comp case. So I tell everybody in that situation, do you want me to continue with this exam? Because once the exam is complete, I have to mark the paperwork as you passed, and then your company's going to find out. Now, in the course of doing the paperwork, if you have a deficit and you can't do all the things, then you're not going to pass. That doesn't kill your workers' comp case because you have a workers' comp case. You're still injured. You're still going through PT and occupational care. But I tell everybody, okay, you had an injury. Was it an on-the-job injury? Yes, it was. Okay, you don't want me to do this. Why? And I explain it to them. It could kill your workers' comp case. Or end it today, even though you're still maybe a month away from being able to be released by the doc for full duty, whatever, to do your job. So do you want me to continue with this exam or no? Well, I don't want to lose my workers' comp case, my settlement. Okay, then let's pretend you didn't even show up here today. But my medical card's about to expire. Since you're on light duty at work, go down to the DMV, downgrade temporarily to a Class C, and then you get 365 days, at least in Colorado, check your state, to heal, finish, come back, pass, go back to full duty. So this is a big one because this does happen, and it's important for you to know my experiences. It's important for you to know how to protect yourself in these situations. Nobody can force you back to work when you're not fully healed. And that has to come from either your occupational med doc or your PT or whoever is in charge of your case workers' comp, they're the only ones who can determine on your behalf you are now completely healed and you are released back to full duty. Then you come to me, do your exam, you fly through it, and you go back to the DMV, upgrade it back to a CDL, and there you go. Most of these cases, or all these cases, when you have a workers' comp situation, you're not driving anymore anyway, and they can't throw you out or fire you over a workers' comp situation. Your company's going to owe you a huge check if they do that. That's wrongful termination. Not a lawyer, did sleep at Holiday Inn Express last night, but part of the series is education. My experiences, I've done 17,000 plus of these exams, and I've run into just about every situation there is into, and there's just not a lot of these videos talking about this out there. So that's part of why I'm doing it, is to educate and to help you protect yourself, because we need you out on the road. We just need you to be safe. And as a result, don't screw yourself in a workers' comp situation. It's 100% or zero, according to the FMCSA. So now you know what to do, and talk to the DMV in your state if this happens to be the situation that you're experiencing. And is it the same as Colorado, where you can do the temporary downgrade, then you get a year to heal, come back, raise it back up, upgrade, if you will, back to a CDL without having to take any tests or any of the BS. It should be the case. I'm pretty sure that's the case in all. It absolutely is the case in Colorado, but should be the case in all the states. So thank you so much. Let's keep our truckers safe and get them back on the road. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, and smash that bell for future notifications and help support the channel. All right, be safe out there.